Hey guys, it's Hamza, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about why I moved out of California 5 years ago, and we're also going to cover why a lot of people are moving out of that state. Now, it's no secret that people have been moving out of California, and this has actually been going on for a while. In fact, US Census data shows that we had 691,000 people move out of that state in 2018. And it's also no secret that more people move out of California every year than people coming in. More recently, one of the bigger names who moved out of California into Austin, Texas was Joe Rogan. And another big move was Graham Stephan, who moved to Nevada. Now, the way both of them explained it and the reasons that they moved were essentially because they were saving a lot of money, which I'm going to get into right now. Now, both of them had very similar reasons for moving out of California, which is basically that they could run their businesses remotely and it made much more business sense because of the taxes that they were paying. But there's also a lot of other people moving out of California, and it seems like the cost of living is the primary factor that is driving people out of that state. So in today's video, I'm going to cover some reasons that I moved out of California 5 years ago. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a real estate investor and I invest in real estate all over Texas. I operate mainly in the commercial real estate space, which means I like buying multifamily real estate and office warehouse business parks. Those are the two primary asset classes that I like to invest in, and they have performed phenomenally well over the past 5 years. And I think they will continue to perform well over the next 5 years. So my story is basically, I came in from Dubai 6 years ago to America looking for business opportunities. And I ended up in Irvine, California. Great place, don't get me wrong, but at the time I did not have enough capital to start a business in Irvine. So I started looking in other places in California to start doing business. But very quickly, I realized that the amount of money I had was very limited and I wouldn't be able to operate a business out of California. Life was very expensive, the zoning laws at the time were difficult to work with, and I could tell that developing land there would be a very slow and painful process for me. Now at the time, I really wasn't thinking about taxes because at the time I hadn't made any money. So for me, taxes were not my primary concern. I really felt that the biggest barrier to entry for me was actually starting a business. At the time, it seemed like if you bought an existing business and converted it somehow to meet whatever type of business you wanted to run, that looked like an easier option. But once again, I did not have enough capital to buy an existing business. Or at least an existing business that made sense to me. Which is when I decided to move to Houston, Texas. At that time, when I decided to move, Houston, Texas had one of the fastest growing zip codes in all of America. And what that meant is you had a lot of new schools, a lot of new homes, a lot of new families moving into Houston, Texas. And so I flew to Houston to check out what all the hype was about. The minute I landed in Houston, Texas, I knew this is where I wanted to be. It was business friendly, the people here were extremely diverse and very kind, and it was extremely easy to find real estate in the budget that I had. To my surprise, I was actually able to buy real estate with the money that I had. And that's how I got started in real estate investing. It was absolutely amazing. The fact that I could buy 4 acres of land in a prime location was absolutely mind-boggling. I quickly purchased the land and then started developing. And because the city of Houston really has no zoning enforced, it was very easy for me to develop my first office warehouse business project. And I bet you guys are thinking, what is an office warehouse business park? So I'm going to quickly go over it. It's basically a warehouse with a small office and a small bathroom so that people can run their entire businesses and at the same time have a small storefront or meet with clients in a professional office that they have in the warehouse. I've been fairly successful in these developments. I've done 3 of them in the past, and I'm currently working on a very large development that you guys can see right here on the channel. Point being, I thought that real estate was just too expensive in California at the time. So I started my real estate investing journey here in Houston, Texas. Now, after 6 years of doing business here in Houston, Texas, and owning 11 different developments in the multifamily space and office warehouse space, I actually looked into moving to California. I spent 2 months of 2020 in California trying to decide whether I should move there or stay in Houston, Texas. And this is where I really got to understand why profitable people and profitable businesses are moving out of California. And by now, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. The taxation laws in California are just so difficult compared to what we have here in Texas and other states that are business friendly that it just doesn't make sense to live there and pay those taxes. I mean, it's a nice state and everything, but I'd rather keep the money and reinvest it in some other businesses or just buy myself something expensive every now and then. So I totally get why these people are fleeing California. For some of them, their cars are entirely paid off or even their homes are entirely paid off just because of the difference in taxation between California and other states. And I also don't see this problem going away. As California becomes more and more expensive, more and more people are going to get priced out of California. The median price of a home in San Francisco is $1.2 million today. And the median price in LA is $600,000. And the reality is that the salaries just don't support that kind of pricing. Which means more and more people are going to move out of California over time just because they've been priced out. And what I'm trying to get at is that if you guys are considering moving out of California, consider Houston, Texas as one of your options. You can really stretch your dollar here in Houston, Texas. And according to the U-Haul Migration Index, that's exactly what's been happening. For 2019, Houston, Texas was the #1 city that was moved into from all around the nation. So what does this mean for me? After spending a lot of time doing due diligence on this topic, I've decided to stay right here in Houston, Texas. And I really think if anybody is considering moving out of California, Houston, Texas is a great place to be. That's it for me. I'll see you guys next video.